everybody, welcome back to my YouTube channel. It's Physio Joy here. I'm a chartered physiotherapist and the proud founder of the London Physio. So we are a virtual physiotherapy service that you can tap into from wherever you are in the world. Yep, that's right. If you've got neck pain, back pain, shoulder pain, I love shoulders, knee pain, hip pain, ankle pain, sciatica, nerve pain, carpal tunnel, whatever it is that a physio can help with, you, my friends, can book directly into my calendar from wherever you are in the world. It's all the w's.thelondonphysio.co.uk. Share that with your friends. Now, today's video is all about shoulder blade pain. I'm so excited to be collaborating on this video with my dear friend and amazing colleague, Mr. Nick Ferran, who is a consultant trauma and orthopaedic surgeon who specializes in shoulder and elbow surgery. Nick can be found at shoulderandelbowlondon.com, and Nick also has a YouTube channel with lots of educative and informative videos about the shoulder and elbow. Nick has actually been on my channel before where we did a video on subacromial bursitis. I'm going to link that video down below and also somewhere in this video as well, so you can go and check it out. A lot of people have reached out to me since we made that video, found it really useful, and have actually come in for physio and for appointments with Nick. So really pleased that we've collaborated, and I'm so excited to be collaborating with him again. Now obviously today's video is about shoulder blade pain, but if you go onto Nick's website after you've watched this video, Nick has actually written a full blog with a lot more detail about what the scapula is, the muscles that surround the scapula, and he's gone even more in depth into things like the causes of shoulder blade pain. So without further ado, let's jump into this video that will actually be split into 3 parts. Part 1, I'm going to be giving you more of a shallow overview on the scapula. Where is it? What is it? And some of the causes that can be physio related. Part 2, I'm going to be showing you exercises that you can do at your desk, literally at your desk without having to get up. I'm showing you 5 of my best exercises that I share with my patients to help with scapulothoracic pain. And for part 3, I'm going to be giving you some general common sense tips. These could apply to anyone and everyone, whether or not you have shoulder blade pain. You could literally use these tips to avoid getting shoulder blade pain in the future. Remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel if you haven't already, and to Nick's YouTube channel if you haven't already. All of his links will be down below. So without further ado, let's get into the video. So this is pain that you typically find on the shoulder blade or around the shoulder blade. You might hear me say scapula sometimes. The shoulder blade is also known as the scapula. So sometimes this pain can be on the scapula, different points of the scapula. The scapula is a triangular bone that sits directly on your thorax, and it forms a joint with your thorax, which is your upper body, called the scapulothoracic joint. So sometimes you might hear me use these terms interchangeably. It all means the same. Your shoulder blade is your scapula, your thorax is your spine, or your ribs really as it goes around. It's basically your upper body, and the scapulothoracic joint is the joint, in quote, that your shoulder blade forms with your thorax. So you can sometimes get this pain on the shoulder blade. Sometimes you can get it in between both shoulder blades, so referring towards the middle of your spine, and sometimes you can get it, you can feel it going up towards your neck. Now, what I want you to understand in this video is that where you feel the pain may not necessarily be the source of the pain. And we as physios refer to that as referred pain. Actually, physios didn't make that term. Just in the medical world, we refer to it as referred pain. So it essentially means that where you're feeling the pain is not the source of the pain. Now, I don't expect you to know all of this stuff. This is where your physio comes in, or your orthopaedic consultant comes in. But in layman terms, I would say that if you're able to move your neck side to side, up and down, without moving your shoulder blade, and it doesn't affect the intensity of your pain in your shoulder blade, then more than likely it's not your neck that's referring the pain. However, if you're able to move your neck up and down and it hurts, so even if you just go backwards and you think, oh my God, that really hurts your shoulder blade, then that's an issue. That means your neck has something to do with it. So without getting too technical, what I'm trying to say is if it is referred pain or you're getting pins and needles and numbness or something other than the scapular shoulder blade pain itself, then please go and see your physio or please go and see your orthopedic consultant. And remember, physiotherapy-wise, you can book in with us directly online. We will look after you, okay? The other reasons why you might get scapular pain or shoulder blade pain, things like stress could contribute to your shoulder blade pain. If you're really stressed, sometimes a lot of us carry stress in our shoulders. We really tighten up and we get stiff over time, and then muscles work more than they should, and it really becomes an issue, and it can refer pain or even just be the source of the pain that you're getting in your shoulder blade. Also, poor posture, that's a very, very common one. We're constantly on our phones, you know, your shoulders kind of protracted, we call it. So basically your shoulders are coming forwards and you're squeezing in your pecs and all the muscles of the back are getting weak and long. So poor posture can be an issue. Stiffness in your thoracic spine can also be an issue for sure. So even just going back to the neck, things like having a disc prolapse in your neck, that can refer pain downwards. Sometimes with that you get pins and needles going all the way down into your fingers. These are all serious-ish things. These are things that the exercises I'm about to show you might not necessarily help with. What I have done is put 5 exercises together that you can do at your desk, some of which incorporate your neck, your thoracic spine, and then the scapula itself. So it's a bit of everything. But remember, these exercises are for instant pain relief for the easy stuff. So without further ado, let's get into part 2 of this video where I actually show you the exercises. Exercise number 1 is shoulder rolls. So with shoulder rolls, I want you to think about literally doing the biggest possible circles. I mean, if you're in a lot of pain or if you're in a little bit of pain, then just do it as pain allows. So you might want to start with smaller circles. After a while, if the pain starts to feel a little bit better, then you might graduate to bigger circles. When I say bigger circles, what I want you to think about is lift your shoulders as high as possible towards your ears. Look how high my shoulders can go towards my ears. So if I wasn't moving my ears, keeping my head in the same position, my shoulders can go really high. That's a lot of range of movement, right? And even if you're struggling with the circles, you can actually start with just lifting and dropping your shoulders. But if you wanted to do the circles from the beginning, you can go lift up. Then I want you to go backwards with your shoulders. So I want you to take your shoulders back and squeeze them together. So you're going backwards, but you're also squeezing your shoulder blades together. Then I want you to keep them squeezed together and dump them down into your back pockets, right? And then take them away from your ears. So instead of just going up and down, you've gone up, back, and down. And then now we're going to come forwards. So you're going to basically bring your shoulders forwards, and then essentially that's your circle, 4 points. So think about up, back, down, forwards, up, back, down, forwards. You don't need to do them so quickly. Take your time with them. And the best thing to think about is keeping your body still and keeping your head still. And just your shoulders are doing the movement. Of course, if you go one way, you can totally go the other way. So you can go up, forwards, down, backwards, up, forwards, down, backwards, and just do the biggest possible circles that you can do. Exercise number 2 is scapular squeezes. This is purely squeezing the shoulder blades together and then bringing the shoulder blades around your thorax and then going back. So we call it retraction when you're squeezing together and protraction when you bring around. So for that, you can have your arms in different positions. You can have your arms like this, and then you can squeeze into like an outwards position and you're really squeezing. For this, I would say hold maybe for about 3-5 seconds and then relax again. So your shoulder blades are working with your thorax in this position. Another variation of this exercise is actually keeping your arms at about 90 degrees. So elbows bent to 90, shoulders to just under 90, fingers up towards the ceiling. And you are going to go outwards and squeeze your shoulder blades together. So you can literally hold this for 5 seconds and then relax, but bring it round in the same sort of plane that you have gone round, okay? So you don't need to go up or down with this one. You can basically just squeeze at the back, hold for 5 seconds, then bring forwards. Again, squeeze at the back, hold for 5 seconds, bring forwards. Now, this is really good for 2 reasons. So as well as squeezing the muscles in between the shoulder blade, which actually means that you are strengthening them by contracting them, you are also stretching your pecs, which is great. Because every time we're in that position at our desks, our pecs are just tightening up the whole time, and those muscles in between the shoulder blades, they're weakening, like I said, because they're lengthening. So this is a really good way to kill 2 birds with 1 stone by strengthening the muscles at the back, but also stretching them. Another way that you can do this, a lot of people call them the YW. So here's your Y, and you're coming down into a W, so you're really squeezing and going up. So whichever variation works. This one where you're squeezing at the back, or this one where you're, again, 90 degrees, or if it's your YWs, that is totally fine. Whichever one works for you is great. Exercise number 3 is the thoracic spine side flexion. The spine acts as a foundation for your scapula, and if there's stiffness underneath, then your scapula is going to feel very irritated, or the muscles around. For this, I want you to put your hands behind your head. So I've got my fingers sort of interlaced at the back. So put your hands behind your head, elbows out like so. I want you to keep your bum, or both bum cheeks, down, so you're not lifting one, and as you go to the right, you're not lifting your left bum cheek, and then you go back up to the middle, and then you go to the left. So same thing, you are not lifting your bum cheek, because the moment that comes off the chair, unfortunately, you're reducing the range of movement in your thorax. Think about directing the movement using your elbows as well. So that actually really helps. So as I go down to my right, I'm thinking about pulling my right elbow down towards my hip, my right hip. And at the same time, I'm thinking about lifting my left elbow away from my left hip. So when I go towards my left hip, I'm thinking about pulling my left elbow to my left hip and lifting my right elbow away from my right hip. So I think about sitting upright and then directing the movements using my elbow. Exercise number 4 is a neck-based exercise. So we're going to do 3 different movements. We're going to do what you call a chin retraction, which is where you give yourself a double chin. Retract, so you're basically retracting the chin and pulling your chin into your neck. That elongates the back of your neck and automatically stretches the muscles at the back of your head. And then what you're going to do is come down into a neck flexion. So you're bringing your chin to chest, keeping your chin retracted, so giving yourself that double chin, chin to chest, and then using your right hand, we're going to combine that retraction and flexion with a side flexion, so a side bend. So my hand placement is directly, it's at the back of my head, but the opposite side, because you're going to be pulling down into your hip. So rather than doing this 10 times like the others, because this is a stretch, I like to do this 3 times, hold the stretch for 10, 20, 30 seconds, totally up to you. If there's a lot of pain, then you might not want to hold the stretch for long at all. For some people, you might even just want to do the movement. If you're doing it as a movement, you can do more repetitions. If you're doing it as a stretch, you add the holds at the end and then reduce the number of repetitions, okay? So chin retraction, chin to chest, pull into the hip. One thing I would say as well is that when you pull, try not to, because it's very tempting for your whole body to sink into that pull. So make sure you are still sitting upright, okay? Chin retraction, chin to chest, and it's just your head that's pulling down. Because what we want to do is elongate the muscles from the base of the skull down into the scapula. So you're pulling just your head. The moment your body starts to bend along with you, you kind of lose the whole purpose of the exercise. The final exercise is what we call shoulder protraction or retraction, which sounds really funky, but really you're just punching forwards and then backwards. But you don't want to bend your elbow. So this is all about scapula. So if you think about throwing a punch, sometimes, you know, you're punching from your elbow flexion, so with your elbow bent into a straight arm. But in this case, we're actually punching with the whole arm straight. So it's better for me to demonstrate it from the side. So I'm going to turn to the side, shoulder, elbow and wrist, all in one straight line, okay? And then you're basically punching forward. So notice how my body isn't moving at all. So you're basically punching forwards. So your shoulder blade is rolling around the side of your thorax, and then you're punching, well, you're not punching, you're pulling backwards, right? So you're going forwards and back. So this is all about scapular movement. It really has nothing to do with your elbow. Totally different to when you punch like this. So when you go from a bent arm to a straight arm. So your arm stays straight the whole time. So imagine reaching for something in front of you, but without moving your body, and then pulling that arm back into its socket, if you like, but not really, because it's the scapula. So you're going round the back of the thorax, and then round the front of the thorax, round the back of the thorax. And you can do this, if you're not sure, you can do this with your, obviously we're doing it sitting at your desk now, but you can do this against the back. So my chair, the back is not very high, but if you've got a high chair, you can actually sit and pull back into the chair, and that will indicate that you're doing it right. Well done for doing all the exercises. So aside from the one stretch, the next stretch that I showed you, everything else you can just do without holding. You can repeat 10 times and relax, and just do that, you know, as many times as possible throughout the day. So that's it for the exercises, but I did promise you part 3 for some common sense tips. So the first thing is really posture. Think about your posture whilst you're at your desk. If you are bent over at your desk, obviously your shoulders are going to be protracted, so they're going to be coming forwards. You're going to get tightness in your pecs, typing away. Therefore, the muscles in between the shoulder blades, which are actually really important muscles, start to get long and weak. And as a result, you're going to have some unnecessary secondary issues. Try and keep your shoulder blades retracted and down. And at the same time, you're engaging your core to keep you as upright as possible. Remember, with engaging your core, you need to be able to breathe. You need to be able to have a conversation, so you're not just holding your breath. Instead, you are pulling your belly button up and in, and you can still have a conversation like I'm doing now. Tip number 2 is do not spend too long at your desk without moving around. So even whilst you're sitting at your desk, some of the exercises I've shown you, do them like every hour, or, you know, within the hour. Turn your neck side to side, roll your shoulder blades, like literally the exercises I've shown you, do them as often as possible, not just at your desk, but throughout the day. Tip number 3, see a physio or a shoulder consultant. Come on, it's 2022 nowadays. With the London Physio, you can have virtual physiotherapy on your phone, literally anywhere you are in the world. There's no reason whatsoever that you should be struggling with shoulder blade pain or any other kind of pain when you literally have physiotherapists at your disposal. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. I hope it's been really useful. I had so much fun making it. I hope you've learned so much. Now remember to subscribe to my YouTube channel and Nick's YouTube channel. And also remember, you can book appointments with the London Physio directly. So all the w's.thelondonphysio.co.uk, you can book directly into my calendar. And we even have an offline calendar. We are actually open 24/7, which means wherever you are in the world, whatever your time zone is, we always have an appointment to accommodate you. So if you can't see an appointment online, drop me an email, joy@thelondonphysio.co.uk, and we will find a time that suits you. You can do the same for Nick. So if you go to shoulderandelbowlondon.com, all of Nick's contact details are there. So if you need anything at all to do with the shoulder or the elbow, even if it's not shoulder blade pain, feel free to get in touch with Nick.